Alright, let's dive into something that's got the soccer world buzzing. Larry Berg, co-managing owner of LAFC, is set to become the next MLS commissioner. But here's the thing, this isn't just another executive shuffle. It's a move that could reshape the trajectory of Major League Soccer. Let me explain why this is such a big deal. First off, the timing is fascinating. MLS is at a crossroads. The league is celebrating its 30th anniversary, and it's trying to solidify its place as a major player in the U.S. sports landscape. Personally, I think this is the perfect moment for someone like Berg to step in. He's not just a team owner. He's a guy with a private equity background who's built LAFC into one of the most valuable and respected franchises in the league. What makes this really interesting is that he's taking over from Don Garber, who's been at the helm since 1999. Garber's legacy is massive, but Berg's got a different skill set, one that could push MLS into uncharted territory. Now, let's talk about Berg's background. He's not your typical sports executive. He's got this financial acumen from his time at Apollo Global Management and McGraw-Hill Education, which, in my opinion, gives him a unique perspective on how to grow the league. But here's the kicker, he's also been deeply involved in the soccer side of things. As co-chair of the league's sporting and competition committee, he's got a finger on the pulse of what makes MLS tick. What many people don't realize is that his experience with LAFC, turning it into a powerhouse in a massive market like Los Angeles, could be a blueprint for how MLS expands in cities like New York and Chicago. But here's where it gets really intriguing. Berg has been vocal about his belief that MLS can become the third most popular sport in the U.S., behind only football and basketball. When he said that back in 2020, it felt like a bold claim. But if you take a step back and think about it, the league's growth since then, the academy system, the rising valuations, the global talent, it's not as far-fetched as it sounds. What this really suggests is that Berg isn't just here to maintain the status quo. He's here to disrupt and elevate. Now, let's talk about the challenges. One thing that immediately stands out is the balance he'll need to strike between the big market teams, like LAFC, and the smaller market franchises. LAFC's success has been built on significant investment, but not every team can, or will, spin like that. From my perspective, Berg's ability to bridge this gap will be crucial. He'll need to convince smaller market owners that growth is possible without breaking the bank, while also keeping the big spenders happy. It's a tightrope walk, but if anyone can do it, it's probably him. Another detail I find fascinating is the transition process. Berg has to divest his shares in LAFC, which makes sense. You can't be both a team owner and the league commissioner. But it also raises a deeper question. How will his relationship with other owners evolve? As someone who's been in the trenches with them, he's got credibility. But now he's the guy calling the shots, and that dynamic is going to shift. Personally, I think his experience as an owner will give him an edge in understanding their concerns, but it's also going to test his ability to be impartial. Finally, let's talk about the bigger picture. MLS is at a point where it's no longer just about survival, it's about thriving. Berg's vision for the league as a global destination for talent is ambitious, but it's also necessary. If you think about it, the league's ability to compete for top players will ultimately determine its place in the global soccer hierarchy. Berg's background in finance and his track record with LAFC suggest he's got the tools to make that happen. But it's not just about money, it's about culture, strategy, and leadership. So, here's my closing thought. Larry Berg's appointment isn't just a change in leadership, it's a statement of intent. MLS is ready to play in the big leagues, and Berg is the guy they're betting on to get them there. Will he succeed? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the next few years are going to be fascinating to watch. What do you think? Is Berg the right person to lead MLS into its next chapter? Let me know in the comments below.